Fame inductees. So welcome back to the stage, Marc Bruno, class of '93.
Thank you for 2 hours notice, Ted. That was great. No problem, right? We all jump in and do what needs to be done. But look, it gives me another joyous pleasure to be up here and introduce the next Hall of Fame inductee, Abigail Charpentier. I have known Abigail for 35 years. We were classmates together at the hotel school. I got a couple years on her. But I've been her boss, I've been her peer, I've been her teammate, and I've worked for her. And she has risen to be the Chief Human Resources Officer of Aramark. And when you are in charge of the people comprised of 260,000 people around the globe, everybody works for Abigail. So, but during that time, I've seen her at her best, and I've seen her at her worst. But with Abigail, there actually is no worst. It's tough times, she's smiling. I lose more hair, she smiles. But all of that I've gotten to see working with Abigail and being a friend, I can really sum it up in 2 words, which is passionate dedication. That dedication and passion toward her craft, which she does flawlessly, to her friends, to her beloved hotel school, all of our beloved hotel school, where she was the managing director of HEC 70, where she gives and gives and hires more and more and keeps the generations of folks with opportunities coming out of the hotel school, coming back to speaking classes, and of course her family. Jean-Luc, who's here with her, her husband, and her 2 kids, Lexi and Spencer, who are also out there somewhere. Now, that passion of hers goes all the way back to her first day on the job. And every once in a while, when you work with somebody, you collect things along the way that you know one day you may want to use as blackmail. And so when Ted called me 2 hours ago, I went into crisis mode, and I called Abigail's assistant, and I said, I need you to send this to me now, because this is actually not an Aramark function, and she cannot fire me if I put this up on the screen. So to demonstrate that lifelong, passionate dedication, I have the picture of her from her first day on the job. And that, my friends, is passionate dedication, briefcase and all. She hates this picture. Abigail, you've never met a person that didn't love you, and we all love you. Congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame. Come on up.
So, standing here before you as the 11th inductee this afternoon, with 2 more honorees still to come, I promise I will. I don't know that I can even see the timekeeper, but I will keep my remarks brief. especially knowing that standing between a reception and a group of hoteliers is not a great place to be. So, plus, I'm going to have to get back to my hotel room early because we have a board meeting tomorrow, including the compensation committee meeting. And Marc's just given me some more things to talk about in that. Thanks so much to Ted for all of the work that he puts into the Hall of Fame. We've heard about his dedication around that. And it's really fun to see someone's dedication have so much passion and so much fun with it. And a lot of the folks up here today have talked about their surprise in standing here and accepting this honor. And in the spring, I got this reach out from Ted, and he asked me to do a quick write-up and in quick turnaround time on Ed Evans. And he was very mysterious. He didn't tell me what, but I kind of had an inkling it was for the Hall of Fame. So I wasn't hugely surprised when I got this cryptic message from Catalina a couple months later, a month later, that she had great news for me. I thought, oh great, she's calling to tell me that Ed's being inducted. Where I got very surprised was she did tell me that Ed was being inducted, but then asked me if I would accept the same honor. And that was rather shocking. As Marc referenced, I was the managing director of HEC 70. Our theme was Mosaic of Time. As I prepared for this speech, I thought a lot about HEC. It has always been a cornerstone of my experience at the hotel school, and one that I hold very near and dear. And as I thought about that time, or thought about the theme, I found it resonating even more with me 30 years later. As I look back on what's happened so far in my career and my life, which has been an amazing mosaic of support. It's been a beautiful and colorful pattern made up with the characters and family and mentors and friends and colleagues who really helped to shape my journey. As others have referenced, no one gets here alone, especially in our industry, where teamwork and collaboration, and yes, Ed, that includes constructive conflict, that's all the secret ingredient to the recipe for success. So first to my family, Jean-Luc, Spencer, Lexi, thanks for always being my home base, my cheerleaders, and often my reality check. To my parents who sparked my interest in the industry and really modeled warmth and gracious hospitality at home, I'm so grateful for the foundation that they gave me and the encouragement they gave me at every turn. To my mentors and sponsors, and especially those in the room, Ed Evans, Giuseppe Pizzotti, the big pal, Marc, Ted, thank you for your wisdom, your encouragement, and for nudging me out of my comfort zone when I needed it most. To my many friends throughout the hotelier community, many of which go back to sitting in classrooms together, and to the many who I've met along the way, this community is just amazing. You're amazing sounding boards, you're generous in sharing your insights, and you also just make the journey a heck of a lot more fun. A lot of that fun, again, as I think about my time at the school, and I mentioned already, goes back to HEC. And I thought about two lessons from HEC, or two moments that are things that I have continued forward in the 30 years since. The first, you're motivating a volunteer student, Ivy League student population. It takes a little bit more than just giving direction. It takes building relationships, making connections, providing some inspiration so that other people want to get involved in shaping the journey. And one of the things that I found working in HEC 4 years as a student was always asking, how can I help? What can I do? And that's something that's served me really well since my last time working HEC, before moving into the guest mode at HEC. The other thing that is memorable, and I think it was after one of those hot truck type pictures, when I was a junior, was a little issue that we had in the Regent Lounge that night, because it was after 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had some guests. I won't name names, Joe Lavin and Russ Urban, or others, that wanted to continue to enjoy some beverages, but we weren't allowed to serve per New York state law. That didn't go over well. In fact, I was threatened that I would never work in the industry. We resolved it. Everything went fine. But what I learned from that was that next year we weren't going to have the same thing happen. And we figured out a way, the beverage director and I, for HEC 70, figured out a way to have some beverages put aside and delivered to the people that we thought might partake in these activities. So they would be available and they could dispense on their own after 1 o'clock in the morning. So the crisis was averted, and I'm very glad I've been able to have a career in the industry as a result. So life is service. I'm grateful for the opportunity to keep paying it forward for all that I've received. Thank you so much for this honor. Thank you for the memories. And thank you for being part of my mosaic. Here's to continuing the tradition of service, one hotelier at a time.